very late. So good afternoon. My name is Bobby Canseco and I'm the club mentor. So I will be your presiding officer of the day. All right.
Yeah.
To begin with, let us all stand and face the flag. And Scott, can you? Oh, there you are. Can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. So everyone in the right hand over your heart, and please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, and have a seat. Let us begin by introducing ourselves first. Just give us your name and tell us how long have you been with the club, or if you're not with the club, how did you find out about this club, or who invited you? Can we start here, please?
Okay, my name is Karina Tang.
Karina, yes.
I've never been to this is like my second Toastmaster meeting, so
Okay.
I've never got involved in Toastmasters, and Ross kind of introduced me to it. I am involved right now I'm involved in some kind of e-commerce type of job. And so I want to know maybe what point of time I might have to involve myself in some kind of public speaking. So I want to know what it's like and to prepare myself the day to come.
Okay.
That I know how to speak in front of people. Maybe there be 10 people, 100 people, or 1,000 people, so I know. And to learn how to communicate well to people and how to express myself.
All right.
And so that's why I think I want to start getting involved in Toastmasters.
All right. Very good. Let's give it just one clap. All right. Then.
My name is Voss, and Karina and I locked arms and we wanted to see what else is out there as far as Toastmasters. I was involved in Toastmasters years ago. And it's such a dynamic place to be, and the people that you meet and what you learn and communication skills and so forth. So I've been in the ATM industry for many years, and we're going to a different arena. We're going to another area where we can change lives of people's lives. So because of that, I wanted to polish up on my communication skills, and and that's on there.
All right. Good. One clap.
I'm Roy Fisher. I'm a real estate broker. Part of my responsibilities is recruiting and training people to come into the real estate industry or to move to our company. And I've been a club member here for about 2 months, and previously belonged to a Toastmasters in Pasadena.
Very good. One clap.
Can we go around?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's do it. All right, my name is Jesse Dorado, and I've been with Toastmasters for, I'll say, maybe almost a year. I started last December, and also I'm a financial advisor. I teach families how to plan for retirement, so that's what I do.
All right. One clap.
Well, my name is Scott. I'm a health entrepreneur. What I do is I promote health and achieve financial freedom for people. For me, I've been involved with Toastmasters for a little around 6 months. I just completed last week my CC, so I'm pretty excited about that, and looking forward to continue on and improving my public speaking. Thank you.
All right.
Man, we got a little sequence here.
Just one clap.
I'm Jacob Polarino. I'm an unemployed college grad, so have a lot of time. But yeah, I've been here for about 2 months and just trying to improve my skills on different things.
All right.
Hello, my name is Amir Chen. I'm from Taiwan, and I've been to Toastmaster a couple months. I also attend the other 2 clubs, one in El Segundo, the other one in Covina, and I try to improve my speaking skill. Yeah.
All right.
I'm Beatrice, and I've been in Toastmasters for the past 5 months or so. And I really love this place because it's taught me a lot. And most of all, it taught me how to be patient because I've never had that skill. So I wish to continue and, just enjoy its benefits. So I recommend it to every single person on earth.
Right, everybody.
All right.
Okay.
And again, I'm Bobby Canseco. I've been with Toastmaster for 7 years. I am a member of 3 clubs. My home club is in Cerritos. And I've been club president, secretary, VP education, and then I also became an area governor, and now I'm just relaxing. I do web design, and I love mentoring people in Toastmaster because personally I get a joy out of helping people improve their speaking skills, because I know if you help somebody, and especially in the communication part and leadership, that they will achieve greater things in life. And it just gratifies me to know that you've been part of that success. So to me, it's like a service, community service. When I joined Toastmaster, it was more of a selfish desire, because you just wanted to learn communication. It's me. But as you develop the skills, you find out that you develop more when you teach others. You know that? You learn more when you teach others, and you remind yourself of what you have to do when you teach others. And that's why it's really good to be a mentor when you get a chance. All right, let's give ourselves a big hand. Now we need to fill up some roles today. Let's begin with okay, Jesse, you can say mission statement.
Yes.
Act counter, Amber, right? Will be the act counter. Grammarian, Peter Dose is not here, so Scott, you will be the one. Timer, Roy, can you take over the timer's role? Vote counter, Adolfo is not here, so somebody has to do double roles. Jesse, can you do a double role?
What is it?
As a vote counter?
Yes.
Okay. And then Jacob is here to do the speech. Beatrice is also here.
Yeah.
And table topics, Rita is not here.
It's not here.
Does anybody who would like to volunteer as a table topics master?
Yeah, I can do that.
Scott? All right, great, Scott. Scott will be our table topics master. And you might as well be a general evaluator, Scott. Double roles.
Oh, yeah, he's also doing that.
All right, we need one more evaluator. Elmer's not here. Roy, can you do an evaluation?
I really
Same
haven't
time.
any idea of what to do.
To evaluate a speech.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, because you're speaking,
Probably, maybe Scott and I
can
can.
you also do evaluation?
I should probably
Okay.
give you
All right, very good.
I think we're
Who is it?
Scott's going to be. So Scott, you will be evaluating Jacob, and I will be evaluating Beatrice. All right, I think we're ready to roll. All right, let's call on Jesse. Can you tell us what the missions?
the mission statement.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, the mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth.
All right, very good. We always remind ourselves of the mission statement, because the idea is to really provide this supportive environment. This is where you can mess up and still walk out and still be whole and be yourself. Whatever happens here stays in here. All right. And then we have the act counter. Amber, can you explain your role as the act
Okay.
counter?
As we know in Toastmaster, which try to hold on. We try to cut down extra pauses and filler words by anyone who speak during a meeting. So the words kind of appropriate so like such as so you know. So if you can cut down those filler words, and it will make your speech more concise and convey you so clearly. So as an accountant, I will jot down all the legal word. I will report it afterward. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So watch out for those filler words like you know.
Well, you know.
You know. So, Grammarian, Scott, can you explain us your role for today?
Yes, so the role of grammarian is to make sure that everyone uses in their speech or when they were speaking, use everything in context. Also, when you have your table topics, this is also important to include the word of the day. So the word of the day today is glean, which is a verb. To learn, discover, or find out, usually little by little or slowly. So by talking to my grandparents, I glean more about my family history.
Very good. Thank you. And now we have Roy. Will you explain your role as the timer?
Yeah, timing is for practice, and everyone knows the most boring thing anywhere is to have a speaker go on and on and on. And a major portion of learning to speak effectively is to be finished on time. When you're invited someplace or asked to speak, everyone, even if it's not stated, has an agenda, and you have a certain amount of time. By using this little tool as a crutch, if you're doing it out in public, you might want to have someone sitting there going like this, looking at the time for you to give you a heads up. But when you have reached your minimum time period for whether it's a 5 or a 2 minute, 1 minute presentation, at the end of that 1 minute, your green will come on. Because everybody's expected to speak a certain amount of time. You just can't get up there and say, "Hi, it was a great day, bye." That's not going to work. The second, and then once you're past that, but you're getting to the point of almost finished with your presentation, it'll turn to yellow, at which time you have, in most cases, 30 seconds to a minute to be able to wrap up. Okay? And then finally, the red means you're overtime. So if you see the red, you've really gone over it. What is it? It means stop. Wind up. So you should have wound up in the yellow, but if you didn't, then you just need to stop and get done, because people will forget what you had to say. If they're just thinking about what is this going to get done.
Yeah. Yes, Jesse?
Well, another thing that another thing as far as that, the red is, you have 30 seconds
Yes.
to wrap up. I just want to make sure when the red light turns on, you have 30 seconds to wrap up. It's still within that range, but it's like getting close to your,
Correct.
when you're.
So we have the table topics, which is 1 to 2 minutes. The green light would turn on at the 1 minute, 1 minute mark, the yellow 1.5, and then the red light will be the 2 minute mark. You still have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. If you go beyond the 30 seconds, then you're really disqualified for whatever content you are in for that exam. Now some speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Or most of them on these speech projects are 5 to 7 minutes. So the green light will turn on the 5 minute mark, yellow the 6, and the red light on the 7 minute mark. And again, you always have 30 seconds to write up. Now for the evaluations, those are the 2 to 3 minutes. So the green light will turn on the 2 minute mark, 2.5 on the yellow, and 3 on the red minute mark. And again, you have 30 seconds to wrap. All right, now I guess that's out of the way. And our vote counter, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
explain.
Okay. I'll read the vote counter, and what it is, I want to be counting when there's a speaker up front speaking, and we're going to vote. We're going to have 2 speakers. We're going to vote for the best speaker, and also we're going to vote for the best evaluator, and we're going to use this ballot for that purpose. And at the bottom, it's got, for instance, best table topic. Also for the table topic, we also gonna vote who gave the best table topic. So we're gonna vote for best table topic, also for the best speaker, and also for the best evaluator.
Best evaluator.
Okay.
Very good, Jesse. Jesse is not allowed to vote unless there's a tie.
There you go. Okay. All right, let's do it.
All right, let's begin.
Showtime.
All right, showtime. Let me call on Scott to explain explain the speech project for Jacob.
Yeah, so for today's speech, Jacob is doing speech number 2. It's organizer speech. The purpose of speech is to present a talk that is organized in a manner that leads the audience to a clearly defined goal. Speech includes a beginning, body, conclusion, major facts or ideas, and appropriate support material with smooth transitions between the facts and ideas. So the speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes, and the speech title is, let's see, Everyday Decision Making? Everyday Decision Making. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Jacob.
All right, Jacob.
Help me welcome new member Jacob. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's been pretty extensively proven that humans are very selfish creatures. But given that that is the case, we often make decisions that are not for our best interest. For example, we know that there are right decisions and there are wrong decisions. When we choose to eat something, we know that there's a healthy foods and there are unhealthy foods, and we can choose to eat either or of them. Some people say that healthy foods may not taste good, but we also make that choice not to go out and seek healthy foods that both are good for us and taste good. So there are choices that we make. We make choices about whether we want to exercise, whether we want to read on a daily basis to expand our knowledge. So these are choices. And Warren Buffett said that when he was asked why smart people get bad results, he said that it's ego, it's greed, it's envy, it's mindless imitation of other people. There are many factors that diminish the horsepower of the mind and before output even gets out. So he said these things are your habits, your tendencies, your temperament, all of these things come together, and what it really accounts to overall is that you don't get in the way of yourself. You don't intervene when things are on autopilot, and that's what they are. When we make decisions every day, most of our decisions are habitual. Our tendencies, they come out, and we're on autopilot most of the time. So in order to learn to make these decisions, we need to learn to break the autopilot. We need to learn to be aware in every situation, so we know exactly what's happening and what's going on. Because when things are of habit, we don't know what happened. We don't know if we're committing the best rationale to the things that occur. So that when we enter a situation, or at the end of the day, we always come to some type of rationalization of what's happening. We always come to some type of rationalization of why we did something. Like, for example, if we eat unhealthy, we always say, well, I didn't have enough time, I couldn't prepare this, I didn't have enough resources. We always say that. And it's always makes sense to us, the rationalization always makes sense to us. But if you look at it, rationalizations only seem rational to us because they're coming from us. And usually if we take that rationalization and put it in a different perspective, it's totally just wrong. So behavior that does seem rational to us will seem rational in a different viewpoint, and there's always some type of background information that's there. There's always some type of context for every irrational and rational choice. There's always context that comes with it. Context in, maybe emotions or something. So there's a series of emotions when we make a choice. And we need to learn to change our context or our environment so we can change our behaviors. So then we can make better choices in different circumstances. Now what this comes down to is, like I said, because we're in autopilot, we need to get out of autopilot, and the first step is becoming aware. And the first step is becoming aware. We need to learn to make better decisions by building willpower. And the way we build willpower is that when we're in autopilot, we need to break that and step back and become aware of what's happening. And if we consistently do that, then we're going to be more readily available on the next time when we enter into any type of situation. So we have to build willpower. We have to strengthen our prefrontal cortex so that it cultivates a rational environment, cultivates a rational mindset, and that's how we need to come to that place that we can operate there. For example, there's been countless studies of why, well, a lot of women get a lot of rap for shopping and excessive shopping, but there's been a lot of studies that have linked shopping with an emotional state of mind, so that if you're feeling distressed or saddened, you usually go and shop, and it's sort of a therapy for a lot of people. And it's actually been proven that if you feel sad, you're more likely to pay a large price for anything, really. And if you feel or in a happy type of state, then you're more likely to sell something at a sort of the right sort of state, the right sort of price value. So we need to understand that we have emotional triggers. We have emotional triggers, and when we get some type of behavior, we have a tendency to react some way. And the first way that we learn about that is to become aware of those emotional tendencies and the emotional triggers, so that when they happen or when we're in those contexts, we can see them for what they are. And that is the most important thing, which is self-criticism. And there are many reasons that are rooted in our psychological tendencies and our biases towards certain things that often influence us subconsciously. And the only way we can get out of that is to become aware of that and take notice. And the only way we can do that is to self-criticize. We need to understand our quirks and our emotional triggers. We need to understand what types of environment, what types of people create some of our emotional triggers and our biases and all of these things, or what types of things prevent us from becoming rational, so that we can both become aware of them and avoid them, or change them so we can change our behavior. Now, Sun Tzu said that if you know yourself and you know your enemy, then you're going to be 1,000 times more successful. And the first step in that is to be self-critical. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Really, every one of us has to do decisions every day. So I try to simplify my life. I let my wife take care of my decisions, like whether I should go out at night. That's a minor decision. I'll take a major decision, whether we go Democrat or Republicans. Those are major decisions. All right, moving along. Our next speaker is doing her speech project number 7 from this Competent Communication Manual called Research Your Topic. The objectives is to collect information about a topic from numerous sources and carefully support the points and opinions with specific facts. Examples and illustrations gathered through research. It's a 5 to 7 minute speech, and the title of her speech is Culture Shock. Please help me welcome Beatrice on the stage.
All right.
Wow. Good afternoon, Toastmaster. What's that, Toastmaster? My honorable guests and my fellow Toastmasters. Growing up in India wasn't easy as an Anglo-Indian because of my culture. My culture was more westernized compared to the Indian culture because of the British influence. We were different in so many ways. We were different in religion, in language, in attire, in behaviors, in morals, in values and ethics. One such was like the Indian male child was considered superior to the female, but whereas in our culture it was equality between male and female. which led me into a lot of judgments and severe criticism and negative stereotyping. And it was not a good place for me, but I had to fight that because I was a minority. So my best thing to do was just compromise and just blend in, you know, and get your things done. So that led me to bouts of frustration, anger, and sometimes hatred. But when I left India in the 90s and I went to Dubai, I was introduced to a new breed of Indians. These Indians were non-judgmental, non-critical, and I was happy, but not for long. In 2003, I moved to the US and I met up with a lot of Indians, which reminded me of my days back in India. Same emotions, same trauma. And I said, this time, I'm going to fight it. And how? Verbally. I'm not going to put up with it. Because I was in a Western country, after all. So I commonly use phrases like, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Otherwise, go back. You don't belong here. And did that help me? No. It just made me more bitter and more angry and more critical, and and my solution was just, withdraw and don't mix with the negative people. Till 2005, when the great transformation happened to me, and I had this divine intervention when my heart was transformed from anger to love, unconditional love. And I wanted to go back, not to be understood, but to understand. So, I had this thirst and knowledge to know what happened to me, to why all of a sudden I was born again spiritually with this unconditional love that I look at anyone and I love them. And I didn't know why. So I wanted to do a study and research. And this led me to a word called cultural shock. That was a shocking revelation. To me, it was like I reached my epiphany. All the pieces of the puzzle came together. And I knew that it was like, voila. It was culture shock that we were going through. So what is culture shock? It's not that I never heard the word before. I did hear it before, but I took it at face value, and I thought culture shock was just being aware of a new culture and getting shocked about it. So that was what I thought. But my studies and my research told me something else. It told me that culture shock is a term used to denote the anxieties and stress reactions that people experience when they live in a culture and a linguistic environment significantly different from theirs. And this anxiety, stress, and resulting thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are caused by cognitive dissonance due to disexpectations and due to identity diminishment, ego identity diminishment. And then I realized, what is this cognitive dissonance? And which means uneasiness. And it occurs to people that it occurs to people when their cognitions are different from the world they are surrounded with, and it's inconsistent to them. So and then if you notice that our roots are deeply connected with our hometown. And the moment you leave this, you are stopping your nourishment that our hometown supports, our personalities, and that is cut off and leaves us with some something called culture shock. So if at all you come across people going through these following symptoms, like they go through withdrawal, or if they are in depression, or if they go through a state of an inability to socially connect with outsiders, and then you should realize that these people are going through a culture shock. The good news is that there is a prevention, and 3 suggestions. 1, adopt a new culture and forget about your old, if that's possible. Or go the cosmopolitan way, a little of this, a little of that, and blend in. Cosmopolitans are known to live anywhere in the world. Or do the 3rd thing, what I did. Just be born again. Have that unconditional love in your heart, and anything is possible. That's
I want to be loved.
Boy, that was shocking. All right, let's move on and proceed with our next. Oh, by the way, there's Adolfo. I'm sorry, Adolfo. Oh, you'll do that table topics?
He'll take over table topics.
Oh, you will. Okay. All right. Very good. But before we go to that, let's get the timers report. Roy?
Yes. Everyone did superbly. Jacob was at 6 minutes and 25 seconds. And Beatrice was at 6 minutes and 55 seconds. So both of you would have very much pleased your audiences.
Okay, so let's vote on the better speaker, the best speaker. Okay, while Adolfo, Jesse will be selecting as well.
Yes.
And now, let's move on to the second portion of our meeting, which is the table topics. And that we call on Adolfo Morataya to lead us in the section. Let's help you welcome Adolfo.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I'm going to conduct the table topics session of our club at this moment, and the instructions are very simple. I'm going to give 3 questions or subjects, and I'm going to select the speakers that will speak a minimum of 1 minute. It could be anybody here in the room. 1 minute is the only requirement. I'll give the subjects, and I'll select the persons that will speak for 1 minute. There is a second requirement though. You need to include the word of the day, which is glean. Glean. Learn, discover, or find out, usually little or small. By little or small. Okay? Those are the 2 requirements. If you do that, then you qualify for the famous ribbon that we will give at the end of our session. I think it's going to be pretty good. So here we go, 3 questions. I'm going to give the first one last. Yesterday was election day, right? Yeah. Election day. Now, suppose that with the knowledge that you have at this moment, they come to you and they say, you are the president of the United States of America. You have been elected. You are me. Yes, you are the president. Now, what are you going to do next for the next 4 years with the knowledge you have? Could you tell us? You want to tell us, Bobby?
All right, Bobby, tell us. All right.
Wow! Great! Now, I know everybody's, having problem with jobs and household incomes are getting low. Then I will come up with a law or something, a resolution to demand that all companies should give 10% raise for all. There you go. And what else? Okay, so we have jobs. What else do we need to tackle on? Health. Very good. Okay. Free health screening for everyone. There you go. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to outsource it. Okay? How do we add sources? Well, with technology available, we'll use the Skype and get doctors from overseas, and we will get our health screening through that. So those are the first two agendas in my president's program. So, Mr. Table Topic, I hope you glean my.
Congratulations, congratulations. I like that was an inspiring. Talking about politics, that was good. That was good. Now there is a second question coming. Now, what is coming pretty soon? It's going to be an easy question. We're going to have Thanksgiving. Okay. Now, what I want you to talk or tell us a good experience of makeup wine, there's no rules on that, is tell us what is the most memorable Thanksgiving you remember that you have. So I don't have the pleasure, but would you like to come and tell us about it?
Hey,
yeah.
All right.
My name is Boss.
Nice to meet you.
Wow, thanks.
You want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Because we are very close to Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What is your most memorable Thanksgiving that you can remember, that you can tell us about something?
Well, as I ponder Thanksgiving, I remember how my belly started to gleam. It grew little by little as I thought about the food. That was my most memorable part of Thanksgiving. And one of them was just having my family around. It was usually at my sister-in-law's house, my brother's house, but I like to call it my sister-in-law's house. We consider it her house. And how she, prepares the whole meal all by herself the day before. And she calls us, make sure we get there on time. And once we get there, she says, okay, we'll have some snacks here or there, and then we'll eventually sit down for lunch. And the most memorable part is we sit down and we go around the table talking about what we're thankful for. And each year, I remember because each year something different comes out. I have a niece and nephew. He's 9 now, she's 7. And they talk about, I'm thankful my parents are coaching my teams, or I'm thankful that you're here. So it's really wonderful to see that and to enjoy that when you go there. You're like, wow, it's amazing how these little minds have grown up to be adults now and what the topics that they talk about are. So the most memorable part is just seeing everyone just going around the table talking about what they enjoy about Thanksgiving.
All right, very good.
I was turning red, you couldn't see me, right?
That's okay. What's one of the thing? No, okay. Here we go. Now, next question. There is something else coming in the activities for Christmas. That is, we're going to be purchasing gifts, right, for Christmas. Well, gifts for Christmas. Now, I know we have received gifts and we remember gifts, but how are the gifts that we have purchased for a friend, for a family, right? Any gift that we have purchased for a friend that we would like to say something about. Now, we'll, don't know your name, but
Karina.
Karine, would Karine tell us?
Yes! About those gifts.
Karina, you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, because we are very close to Christmas. We're approaching, we're going to start purchasing gifts pretty soon. And this is not like about gift that we have received, but gift that we have given, that we have purchased and given for a friend, family. Could you tell us one gift that in the past but that was kind of memorable, it was kind of funny, was kind of something special about it that you could tell us about?
That I purchased?
Yeah. Okay, so yours. There you go.
Well, as I gleaned over the past few years and all the Christmas presents and gifts that I give it to my friends and relatives, that's one year especially that all I did, I just sent out letters to all my friends and relatives with a little note in there saying, I chose not to buy anyone, including my sons. I have 2 sons, by the way. Including my sons, I chose not to send anyone any gifts because I chose to, the money that I can save from all these presents, I chose to pick a charity organization and donate it on their behalf. and I wrote down all their names on that donation, because it struck me that every year I spend all this money on gifts, on presents, on food. That one day, that one night when they open it, say, oh, I'm so glad I got it, oh, I'm so happy. 24 hours later, it might be just sitting there for the next 6 months collecting dust, or something that they only appreciate for that 1 minute or that one night, and then it's not that they don't appreciate it, but it doesn't last long, and that made me think maybe I want something that's more memorable and something that my sons and my friends can really start to think. Maybe they can do the same thing next year. Maybe instead of spending like $1,000 on gifts, maybe to start off they might think of splitting half and half donated to an organization, maybe to an orphanage. The kids will so much love to receive a little doll or just a little plastic car that would like fulfill the whole lives for the next 12 months. So maybe I was thinking maybe something that will start people thinking, why waste all this money and to instead to do a good deed. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those have been the questions I wanted to ask, and for the time given, I'm going to ask now, please vote, or let me call for the timer report, please. You're all right, please?
Everyone did spectacularly. Bobby was for 1 minute and 21 seconds. Los was 1 minute, 23 seconds. And Karina was for 2 minutes and 4 seconds. So thank you all.
And
Okay, now who's the grammarian? Okay, Scott, will you give us the
Okay,
report?
for grammar report, Bobby did say glean at the last quarter at the buzzer. Los did use the word of the glean, and Korean, I'm not too sure if I did hear the word.
yeah,
Very
she
first
did.
sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
First sentence.
Okay.
She did? She did?
Get
Yeah,
this.
she
So
did.
we have-
She did.
First thing she said.
Yeah, so
Oh,
we have
really?
all
Top
top 3 for word of the day.
All
All right, good job.
Thank you.
All right, so the fun part.
Now, at this time, you have the opportunity to vote
Yeah,
for the
right.
best sales topic speaker. Okay? Now, while you do that, I'm gonna return control to the Toastmaster of the day, Bobby Conseco.
All right, thank
All
you.
right,
Also, good questions.
Ready to go?
Now let's go on to the third portion of our meeting, which is the evaluation portion. And we will be led in this portion by our general evaluator, Scott Yanaguchi.
All right, Scott.
For Jacob's speech, second speech titled, Everyday Decision Making. So for a lot of us, every day we have the choice to wake up, and probably our first choice is, right, when we wake up is, what do? Right, we kind of get ready, go about our day, and at the end of the day, we kind of look back and say, what are all the decisions I could have done, improved on, and on a daily basis? So, and that kind of goes on day by day, week by week, year by year, and eventually it becomes a lot of things, our habits, our character, and eventually it becomes our lives. So, for the topic today, Jacob, his specialized was organization, making sure that you have a very strong opening, have a good body to kind of support that opening, and then eventually have a conclusion. So for Jacob, so his opening was about decision making, right? On a daily basis, let's say you come across whether I should eat this food or not. Is it going to be health beneficial or not, or should I just kind of lay it on the side? And eventually in this body, he talked about habits on a daily basis. Your habits, kind of dictate where you kind of go. And a lot of times we don't realize our habits. So we kind of just go day by day in this autopilot, not really realizing things. And eventually, if we want to make a change, we have to be aware of the decisions that we make. So sometimes, I know one thing he said was about women and their shopping. I know a lot of women, actually when I go with my girlfriend, she's on autopilot the whole time. She looks at this, Hello Kitty, I'm gonna buy everything in 3 different colors. And I'm kind of worried, trying to aware her, like, do you really need all those things in 3 different colors? And she kind of rationalized with herself, maybe, maybe not. So it's great. You talked about being awareness is kind of the first step in decision making. And the next step is understanding, right? Now that you're aware of the decisions that you make, why do you make the decisions that you make, and kind of understand it so you can make better decisions in the future. And his closing was about being self-critical, right? Which is to kind of judge yourself and really figure out what is it that you're all about, and why do you do the things that you do. So that's kind of the gist of his organization, right? From beginning to end, I think it went kind of very smoothly. I think areas of improvement, of course, in the future speeches you can come across with one is eye contact. I know Jacob was kind of looking at his notes and trying to be on key, but when you kind of look at your notes, you got to kind of build your eye connection, build a connection with people. Otherwise, it may seem like you're not too sure about what you're talking about, and it's kind of distracting. So eye contact. Another thing is trying to keep it simple. And I know Jacob, he's a philosophy major, and I know sometimes he's really deep into things. But for public speaking, I think that would be great for like a professor or a lecture or a specific topic. But in public speaking, you want to go out there and keep it very simple. And the last one is incorporate pauses. I know for me in the very beginning, I used to talk. But when you incorporate pauses, it kind of makes it more dramatic. And that's something I'm still working on today. So incorporate pauses. But overall, I did really love your topic. I think, Jacob, your strength is you're a very creative person. You have some very thought-provoking ideas. And I think that will really attract people to figure out what you're talking about. So really keep that up and really focus on the basics. And I think you'll be up there as a distinguished Toastmaster. Thank you. And next, our second evaluation today will be done by our mentor, Bobby Canseco.
Wow, cultural shock. I had cultural shock when I first came here in the United States. I was way back in August 1980. We didn't have that much. Well, to begin with, the telephone system, I didn't know you had to put in coins in this machine, and then you can start calling friends. And I didn't know that there was this area code and so on and so forth, because I came from Manila and we didn't have any area codes. If you want to call from somebody, you just go to the store and pay them and say, hey, can I use your phone? And there you are. So it was a cultural shock for me. I like the topic of cultural shock. It's pervasive. It's everybody. If you're in a different environment, you will have cultural shock. But I will evaluate you based on the speech objectives, which is a research topic. Okay? But before I do that, let me tell you what I like about your speech. You're very dynamic. I like the body gestures. You're so engaging. And your gestures and you move about here, your voice is clear, and I like that. Okay, and I like your sharing of your personal stories is really good. It caught our attention. Okay. However, this is a research your topic, and you're supposed to come up with numerous sources. So and carefully support your opinions about it based on these sources. So if I was going to talk about cultural shock, I would maybe focus on researching how many are affected by cultural shock, who are more vulnerable to cultural shock, and what does it cost society for having this cultural shock, and what are the things that. So those questions would really force you to do so much research, and then you would have to cite sources for your topic. And that's the whole point of this speech project, to train us to come up with a research topic supported by different sources. But overall, I still enjoy your speech, and I look forward to your next speech project.
Thank you, Bobby. So now I'd like to call on to Tyler's report for evaluations.
What a spectacular group we have today. Scott was 3 minutes and 7 seconds, so well within parameters and very close to the 2-3 minutes. And of course, Bobby, the old pro, had it down to 2 minutes and 27 seconds. So definitely within time.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. So now this time, I'd like to go out there and make the votes for best evaluator. And while we're doing that, I'd like to go there and call on Amber for today's all-counter reports.
The first is Jacob. He has a handful of R and R and a cell, and also Victory have a sound and let's so like, and I didn't catch the voice of Jesse only have a one soul, and Karina is you have 3 lights, and the Vaz have a 4 arm, 1 hand, 2 legs, 1 soul. And
That's right.
yeah, Scott have a 3 hand and a 4 soul. Barbie have a couple of arms and a soul. Thank you.
All right. Okay. And at this time, I want to go out there and make a quick evaluation for our meeting for today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. You know, this is kind of towards the end of the year. I know things can get kind of hectic, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. I know today, since our presidents, some of our leaders weren't necessarily here, but I don't think it's a good thing because it gives other people, right, to step up and really take hold. Because sometimes if the boss is always there or the leader is always there, then people don't really want to step up and say, oh, you can do the job. But I think now gives an opportunity for people to really step up and to really fulfill their roles. And that's one part of Toastmasters, is to really fulfill not just the speaking side, but also the leadership side as well. And these are all the different opportunities that we have to kind of grow and progress with it. So thank you for everyone for having the multiple roles and fulfilling the last minute. Okay. Another thing as well I wanted to mention, Court.
I interrupt you, Mr. General Maloiro. We need to request a vote.
Oh, you guys want to request the votes for best evaluator? Sorry. It's okay. So of course, one thing is we want to start on time, but I know since we had to do last minute adjustments, but we are going to end in the next few minutes, so which is great. We want to make sure that we are here on time. And I want to thank our speakers too, Jacob and Beatrice. I know Beatrice is very close to finishing up her CC, so I'm feeling very excited. And it's great to have people as long as a continuing journey, and new people also starting theirs with Jacob and his speech on speech number 2. So definitely looking forward to the speeches coming up. Aside from that, well, thank you for everybody for today, and I'd like to return our host to Bobby.
Thank you, Scott. I see Jesse still counting up the votes. Really, make sure that there's no falling chance. Put it against the light, Make sure that is well marked.
Camera here.
Okay, before we tell who the winners are, or are you ready for the? We give the names of the winners. All right. Oh, this is for the tabletop. Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Okay, drum roll, please. For our table topics.
1 second. Miss one.
What winner?
There you go.
The winner is Bob.
Camera. All right. Showtime.
Smile.
Okay, one side first.
All right, let's get it. Thank you.
All right, good job.
All right. For our best evaluator, drum roll.
Hey.
Scott.
All right.
All right, Scott.
Okay, right there. Hold it.
Cheese. There you go.
There you
Hans,
go.
how you doing?
Right.
For the
For our
Zumba-
best speaker, Victory!
And I read the best Zumba dancer.
Finally.
All right.
All right, you did a good job.
All right, thank you. Now, before we adjourn, let us get some feedback from our guest today. Starting with Karina.
Starting with me.
Yes. How do you think about this meeting?
It's an old dialogue.
This is very educational for me. It's like I said, this is only my second time in attending a Toastmaster meeting. And this format is a little bit different from the one that I previously attend. But I feel like I learned a little bit more in this one than the previous one, only because of the variety and the different backgrounds and the different, and the way you guys handle the different topics, how you handle each topic differently. So it's, and definitely I'll come back next time.
Thank you.
If you guys will let me come back next time.
Well, I thought there's a lot of emotion here, meaning that there's the people who were here from the past. Again, I started again after years of not going to Toastmasters, and a lot of passion as far as people wanting to just learn and be out there and really help themselves. So I think that's a plus because everybody seems like they're learning from each other.
Yes.
All right, good.
Okay.
Well, since I'm just the acting presiding officer today, I could declare the meeting adjourned.